on the University of Illinois campus as Tim Beckman heading into his 4th year as we present the spring football game for the University of Illinois, the Orange and Blue game at historic Memorial Stadium as the Illini wrap up spring practice here in 2015. Hi, everybody. Brian Barnhart, joined by former Illini All-American linebacker Jay Lehman. And Jay, always exciting to come to the end of spring football, that last game, the Orange and Blue game today. And exciting for the Illinois program right now because Tim Beckman coming into his 4th year next fall. He won 2 games the first year, 4 the second, 6 last year, got to a bowl game, and trying to take that next step this next year.
Well, no doubt the program is surging. The last 3-4 games of the season, they started to play physical at the line of scrimmage. Had a good recruiting class and a solid spring ball. 2015 looking bright for the Illini.
Well, one of the bright spots from last year, especially early before he got hurt, was quarterback Wes Lunt. He threw for a lot of yards, threw for a lot of touchdowns. He did get hurt in the Purdue game last year, but he's going to be counted on next fall.
When Wes Lunt was healthy, he was electrifying. An effortless release, can put the ball anywhere on the field on the money. He's really the trigger guy. The offense goes as Wes Lunt goes, and if they can protect him, give him time, he'll have another dynamic year. As a backup, Chase Crouch is no slouch at all. This guy can run the ball. This guy can throw the ball. He's a solid guy, a lot like Riley O'Toole. Does a lot of different things. Might not throw the ball as good as Wes Lunt, but a solid backup. We'll see him as on the 1s and on the 2s today in the spring game.
Yep, he's been practicing a lot this spring with both number 1s and number 2s. We're going to see a lot of Chase Krause, the young man from the state of Ohio. Defense last year, Jay, obviously early there was concern, but in the last 5 games of last year, especially on the defensive line, Tim Banks' unit got stronger, and that helped Illinois to a bowl game.
Well, in the Big Ten, the game is won or lost on the defensive line. They've got some veteran players there that are physical. They finally have the size, and they brought in co-defensive coordinator Mike Fair from the NFL. He's coached D-line at the highest level of football. He's injected energy and passion into a veteran group of defensive linemen that can bring this defense to the next level. And you look at the returning players, Jihad Ward on the D-line, Mason Monheim, a lot of tackles over his career, and of course the veteran D'Angelo Bentley, a threat on defense and on special teams.
All right, we're looking forward to getting it underway here in Champaign at historic Memorial Stadium. It's the Orange and Blue game. The end of spring practice up next. Kickoff soon on BTN. Back to Champaign, everybody, for the Illinois spring football game here at the University of Illinois Memorial Stadium in Champaign. Brian Barnhart with Jay Lehman will be joined by the 3rd member of our broadcast team in just a moment, Taylor Rooks. But, Jay, a beautiful day for football. A lot of activities on the University of Illinois campus. Lots of great spring action earlier today elsewhere. And we kind of wrap it up today with the Illinois game.
I tell you what, there's nobody happier than the players right now. Spring football can be a grind. No games, 15 practices, and this is the cap-off where they actually can have a little fun, have a little competition, and compete on the field.
All right, you get a look at the 2 teams as they get ready. And speaking of getting ready, Tim Beckman's ready. He's standing by with our own Taylor Rooks. Taylor?
All right, Coach Beckman, the most recent news coming out of the program today, of course, is Dre Brown's ACL injury. I know you were using today to really evaluate the run game. How does that change now?
Well, it's misfortune. I mean, it's one of those things that happens in the game of football, and you've got to be able to adapt. And we're going to make sure that Henry and Yenahe, Kendrick Foster, TJ Moss, we'll have Dylan Casley. We'll have a bunch of guys get some reps today.
And now today really marks the beginning of year 4 for you, coming off a 6-win season, a bowl appearance, a good recruiting class. Tell me about the state of the program.
Well, we're on a rise. I'm really excited to see what this football team can do today. I can't say enough for how hard they've worked and what they're believing in. You see a lot of continuity, and we're really excited.
All right, have a great spring game, Coach Beckman. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Taylor, down on the field. Taylor will be busy there throughout the day. And let's give you the rules now, the format. And one thing that's right there, number 1, the white team, mostly the 2nd and 3rd string guys, Jay, will begin with a 17-0 lead.
I actually like that a lot. I think it's going to be a great format because the first team has to battle back, try to come from behind, and the second teamers have to hold the lead. Of course, 15 4-minute quarters, but the last one will be a running clock with a possible 2-minute situation.
All right, we won't see a lot of the kicking game today. You'll see the punts being fair caught today, but it's mostly about the offense and defense. The orange team today is the number 1 unit. The quarterback's wearing blue. The defensive line guys are wearing blue. And Wes Lunt with the started quarterback for the number 1 orange unit. And this is Josh Ferguson on his initial carry of the spring game. And he's a guy, Jay, that after a great season last year, being counted on again heavily next year.
They were really high on Ferguson this spring. They said best spring he's had. But how about Joe Fotu? Defensive lineman number 42, coming in, knifing through the line, making a play. They're really high on Fotu. Said it kind of clicked this spring for him. He's a JUCO transfer last year. Now he's going to make an impact on that defensive line.
Well, you see a lot of different colored jerseys down there. The orange, the number 1 unit. The defensive guys are going to play for both sides. The orange and white, if you will, today. And here's Ferguson on the swing pass. And B.J. Bello there to ride him down as they throw it left that time from Wes Lunt.
Well, we know Ferguson can run the ball, but he can also catch the ball. They're going to try to get him the ball early and often. This is just like a sweep, but with a throw. It's actually a lateral. But look at Bello take the air out. Whenever you got a dynamic athlete like Ferguson that can make you miss, you got to take the air out. Bello attacked him on the near hip, made the tackle for loss.
See a lot of the offensive linemen there. Again, these are the guys that are healthy on the number 1 unit. Guys like Joe Spencer at center, Nick Allegretti, Austin Schmidt, Christian DeLauro. You'll see a lot of those guys today. Wes Lunt on 3rd down and long is going to just shovel it ahead to Ferguson, trying to elude traffic. And there's Jihad Ward. Our first look at big number 17. Really came on at the end of last year, Jay.
Yeah, Jihad Ward, they are really high on this guy. Not only a specimen, 6'6", 295. Not many defensive linemen like that in the last couple of years for the Illini, but he's become a leader. And one thing you're going to see about these teams, the defensive line is playing both both for both teams. So they're playing on the 1s and the 2s, the orange and white team. We saw 2 defensive linemen make big plays, Joe Fotu and Jihad Ward.
Jihad Ward a year ago, 51 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, recovered 4 fumbles, came on late in the year. They will punt it away here, and Ryan Frayne kicking it away. Darius Mosley back to catch it, and he'll catch it back inside the 30-yard line. So good job by the defensive unit. Again, you're going to see the defensive guys like Chunky Clemens and Jihad Ward and Joe Fotu. They're going to play both ways, both sides, because of some depth issues there. They had to alter the format a little bit along the way because of the injuries. In fact, Jay, I forget the number, but there's a lot of guys that are not going to play today, and a good chunk of those guys are going to be starters or potential starters next year.
Yeah, 14 or 15 guys not playing. 9 to 10 potential starters. Now some big names. Look at the offensive side. Mike Dudek out with a torn ACL. The best offensive lineman, Ted Karras, out. All right, Dre Brown with injury on Thursday. And then defensively, those are 4 or 5 starters right there, especially on the defensive line, as you can see. So very thin.
Here's our first look at Trace Crouch. Young man from the state of Ohio, quarterback, and the handoff to his tailback, and he got a yard or 2 there, maybe lost a yard. Back at the 26, Kendrick Foster on the carry there. And here's a little more on Chase Crouch. You get a look at him there, number 7. I don't know, every time I see 7 in Illinois jersey, I'm thinking Juice Williams. But this is Chase Crouch, who looks the part, Jay, 6'4", 225-pounder.
A versatile athlete, a basketball and baseball star as well in high school. Can do a lot, can run the football. He can also throw the football, although not as good as pure thrower as Wes Lunt. He's a leader.
We get our first penalty of the game, a false start on the white team. They call this the orange and blue game, but it is orange and white today. Again, the orange team, the starters basically. The white team made up the reserves, and the white team starts with a 17-0 lead. As you get a look at head coach Tim Beckman. In his 4th year coming up, against 6 wins a year ago. Handoff and a nice hole up the middle. Good tackle, though, at the 25. Kendrick Foster on the carry there.
Yeah, Foster getting a chance because Jay Brown was injured earlier in the week. The guy who made the tackle, who the coaches are excited about, Clayton Fitzgerald. Clayton Fitzgerald, number 20. This guy attacks. He's a former walk-on from St. Xavier University in NAIA school. He's very aggressive, attacks downhill, meaning he attacks the line of scrimmage, makes a lot of plays for this Illini defense.
Important for those safeties. You don't want them to make a bunch of tackles, but they can help you in stopping the run game for sure. 3rd and 11 from the 26. Here early in this one in the first quarter in Champaign, and Crouch with a dump to Foster. Pursued by Neal, grabbed by a couple of other defensive unit guys down there, including Eric Finney. Helping out a guy that was a junior college transfer a couple of years ago now. And they have what they call the star position that he's a part of.
Yeah, star's really a hybrid defensive back, linebacker, what you would call a nickel linebacker, almost really used in coverage. And Eric Finney, people forget, was slated to start in 2013, has had some injury problems, has battled back, and now the starter at the Star his senior year.
To punt it away here is David Reisner. He was on that place-kicking crew a year ago, and a fair catch made inside the 30 by Viangelo Bentley. Again, they're not really running back the punch, just catching them, and the possessions are starting on the 27-yard line today. Well, one of the key components last year, of course, was Josh Ferguson. He's been big the last couple of years. In fact, last year Josh was 735 net rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, but his versatility, Jay, receiving the football, one of the top receivers on the team, 427 yards last year.
I think he's one of the more underrated players in the country. He's very sudden with his movements, can make people miss. Most dynamic athlete on Illinois. Like you said, not just a threat to run. The guy can catch the ball out of the backfield.
So versatile and such a big part of the offense, and they like him as a leader, as Hardy unable to grab that one at about the 30-yard line. But Josh, they want him to be more vocal, to be that leader, and I know talking to the coaches yesterday, they feel like he has been.
Yeah, he's had his best spring, not only as a playing-wise, but also as a vocal leader. And they need Josh to be like that. This is his 5th year. This is his time to shine. They need more vocal leaders on this team.
Dre Brown was the guy they were going to count on today in today's game, but as Lunt throws it deep left and overshot his man at the 35, intended for Justin Hardy. Henry and Yennehy is the guy we're going to see a lot of today as well. But that receiving core, you see Hardy down the left sideline without Mikey Dudek and all the yards he put up last year. And they need some other guys to step up.
Yeah, and a lot of guys, we were talking to Coach Bill Cube, he says a lot of guys specialize in routes. Mikey Dudek was the possession guy. Geronimo Allison, the fade guy. What happens now is guys got to kind of specialize on a different thing to make up for Dudek's absence. So we'll see how that works out and how the timing works.
Here is Lunt over the middle. Got his man shy of the 40-yard line. That's Justin Hardy.
One pass complete to number 19, Justin Hardy.
Nice catch and throw between Lunt to Hardy.
Now, when Wes Lunt can set his feet, he's deadly accurate. Boom, on the numbers. When he can't set his feet, his accuracy goes way down. So what you'll see is a lot of defense will put pressure up the middle of the pocket to make him move his feet.
Hardy with 110 yards in a ball game against Western Kentucky last year. And a short pass play to Henry and Yennehy.
Intended for number 20.
And that one incomplete. Again, the White with the lead. They gave him a 17-0 lead to start this one. Let's see what Wes Lunt will do here on 2nd and 10 at his own 38.
Picking up the tempo a bit as well.
And Yennehy in the backfield. He'll run it this time and runs it across the 40-yard line as they had Ferguson lined up in the slot.
And you see Tito and Denebo, number 94, playing the defensive tackle. He'll punch back Joe Spencer there and push 71 Joe Spencer back into the running back. He made the play even though he didn't make the tackle.
Here is Lunt. Got a man open. Nice catch. He's in bounds at the 46-yard line of the White.
You talk about timing and familiarity. Justin Hardy's one of real smooth, just a corner route on the money, all timing. That's the difference between 1 year in the system for Lunt and now 2 years in the system. His timing is right on.
Well, depending on how long Mikey Dudek is going to be out, the 1,000-yard receiver, they need someone like Hardy to put up some big numbers. He's looked good early. Here's another throw over the middle. Caught down near the 30-yard line. Looks like Deontay Taylor at the 30, and another big gainer there for the Orange.
Well, Bill Cuban said Deontay Taylor's got to be one of those guys to fill the void for Mikey Dudek and the loss of production they got when he tore his knee up about a week and a half ago.
Back-to-back pass plays of 13 and 16 yards. 1st and 10. Lunt will throw this one out of bounds. Taylor, the intended receiver there. Mentioned Wes Lunt and his 14 touchdowns. Last year, only 3 picks. Now, at the end of the year, it was Riley O'Toole who took over the team and led the team to a bowl game, but certainly you can't discount Lunt's numbers.
Lunt puts up the numbers. I think they want him to be more of a vocal leader. He's always been a leader by example. He needs to be more vocal because he's earned it with his play on the field.
You see Ainsley Johnson lined up in the backfield. Here's a flip to Taylor. 25-20. He might go on this one. It is going to be a touchdown for the Orange. Deontay Taylor with a catch and run of 30 yards. And suddenly it's 17-6. Nice job tiptoeing his way down the sideline, Jay.
It's all about blocking on the prayer. Watch Geronimo Allison cuts the legs out of the cornerback, gives him the sideline. The cornerback's supposed to contain Taylor, but you can't contain anything if you're on the ground. Taylor takes it to the house.
Taylor, the junior from Fort Lauderdale. Now Ryan Frayne is going to hold for Taylor Zaleski. Last year split the kicking duties with David Reisner, and he's able to boot this one through, and it's 17-7. The White leads the Orange, but an impressive drive as they get started on their own 27. Good pass plays to Justin Hardy, and then the catch and run by Deontay Taylor.
That is the pattern of Illinois scoring drives the last 2 years. A lot of quick passes, timing passes where they can break 1 or 2 plays. But Bill Cupid said he wants to get away from that a little bit. He wants to run the ball a little bit better. They tried that in the initial drive, got stymied by the front 7. We'll see if he comes back and tries to get the run game going with Ferguson and some of the other guys.
Mentioned Justin Hardy's numbers from a year ago. Hardy with 19 catches, 240 yards. He was big part of a 9-play, 72-yard drive that took a minute 48. And now a 10-point lead for the White. 8:50 to go here in the first quarter. And here is Chase Crouch. Crouch from Granville, Ohio, with Kendrick Foster in his backfield. Again, they'll start at their own 27, and a quick hitter up ahead to the 36-yard line.
Yeah, Marchie Murdoch, a guy they said has to step up because of the lack of depth. He's just a quick hitter. Chase Crouch to Marchie, and Marchie's going to get upfield. Good play getting upfield, getting a gain of 8 yards. Now it's effective and very manageable.
Murdoch was not used a lot last year, but he did have a big catch on that game-winning drive to set up the game-winning field goal against Penn State late in the year. As this one run ahead to the 35-yard line, may have lost a yard as Foster on the carry there for the White squad. That offensive line up front for this second unit, that's where they're trying to get some depth, Jay. They've got some question marks there.
Yeah, had some JUCO transfers, some early enrollees playing right now. They said it's really been hard on Chase Crouch. He's been running for his life a lot of spring, and it's hard to judge a player when he's running for his life.
Here is Crouch. He can run it. They haven't touched him yet. Down to the 35 before they get him.
Chase Crouch, the ball carrier.
Caleb Day, the one who pushed him out. And here you see the running ability of number 7.
Well, it's just a straight-up missed assignment. Somebody's got to be accountable for the quarterback, but it's Clayton Fetchel. He's blocked. Where's the other guy? And there should be a linebacker there coming up on Crouch. No one there. Big run, and that's the element that Crouch brings that Wes Lunt doesn't bring. Like I said, a lot like Riley O'Toole, can run the ball, but might not throw as well as Wes Lunt.
All the way down inside the 30-yard line. A 36-yard gain by Crouch. And a fire over the middle and a catch down inside the 25.
Pass completes to number 83, Trevor Cantman.
That's Trevor Cantman.
5-yard gain on the play.
That's another spot, Jay, they've got to fill. John Davis is gone. They've lost some really big tight ends.
Yeah, John Davis, Matt LaCosse played really well down the stretch. And, of course, Tyler White is injured, who was the starter near the end of the year.
Let's go, Rusher. You got to be money, dog. You're on. Let's go.
Here is Crouch on 2nd and 5. Nearing the red zone, and now he's going to take off, and they finally touch him just outside the 22-yard line. Mason Monheim. Monheim, all those tackles a year ago. Honorable mention, all Big Ten.
I think Mason Monaghan has a chance to be an all Big Ten football player. He's obviously improved each year in and year out. He's not going to make the mental mistakes, but the biggest thing is this. It's the guys playing in front of him. The guys playing in front of him are at a different level this year. And if Illinois can stop the run, they can be competitive in each and every game. But it's hard to stop the run in the Big Ten. That's not an easy task.
What did Tim Banks say? He said you can talk about all the spread offenses you want. The running plays, the running of the clock. I mean, the quick hitters, you got to be able to stop the run. Here is Crouch. Just unloads it in time. Caught. Cantman again. Down near the 20.
And there was no time when that was more evident than when Ohio State was playing the national championship running the ball. As we can say, Chase Crouch, get the ball out to Cantman, the tight end. Good open field tackle there.
One of the things they talked about, Bill Cuban did, Crouch has run with both the ones and the twos. Obviously, when he's with the ones, he's been more successful just because the line up front is better than the number 2 line, but certainly he's moved the ball on this drive with his legs. It's 4th and 5. They're going to spot this one down at the 30. This will be a 40-yard attempt for David Reisner. And he missed it. And with that, we will take a break. Here in Champaign, 17-7, the white over the orange in the spring game. Welcome back to Champaign, the orange and blue game. Today it's the white leading the orange, 17-7. And the number 1 unit led by Wes Lunt and the orange team. Nice passing sequence here.
Yeah, when he gets his feet set, he's accurate. Hit Hardy early and often. Here with the timing route on the 7 route. All day, if he has time to throw, hit Deontay Taylor up the middle of the field. And then, of course, hit Deontay Taylor in a swing pass. But the great block by Geronimo Allison right there. Gets the corner on the ground, gets the edge, 6 points.
All right, we're back in Champaign again as we rejoin you on BTN. Brian Barnhart with Jay Lehman. We're going to be joined by Martin O'Donnell here momentarily as Wes Lunt with a handoff. And they run it to the right, get it close to the 30-yard line. Well, it is great to have you with us today. I am not an All-American. These two guys are, Martin O'Donnell and Jay Lehman, and we wanted to bring in Martin a little bit. All-American offensive lineman at the University of Illinois on that Rose Bowl team. In fact, both of these guys were in the last few years. And Martin, just want to talk about the offensive line a little bit, what you've seen so far in practice and where it shapes up, I guess.
Well, I think the coaches really feel like they're one guy away. They have the tackles. They feel good about them. Austin Schmidt, Christian DeLauro. Christian DeLauro, a guy who really came out at the end of the season. Austin Schmidt was a guy who was really thrust in, had to start the final 4 games of the year. Ted Karras, probably their best offensive lineman at right guard, lost him to injury, so hopefully they're going to have him back ready to roll for the fall. Joe Spencer solidifying the center position, but it's that left guard. Who's going to step in at left guard? And especially, this offensive line gave up quite a few sacks last season. To have that interior of the line solidified is absolutely huge.
It's all about running the football. When you played, Illinois was top 5 in rushing, I think, our last 2 years, right? And so how do we get better at running the football? I think every fan wants to know, is Illinois going to be able to run the football, and how do we get better?
The way you get better is you practice it, and I think that's something that Bill Cuban said they made an absolute point of this spring. And the scrimmages that they had, they went out, they lined up with 2 tight ends, I formation, and they just ran it into the interior of the defense. They weren't game planning. They just said, hey, we need to get better at this. We need to move guys off the point of attack. So I think, 1, it's practicing, but 2, you have to play to your strengths. If you're not an offensive line that can succeed in gap blocking schemes, whether you're doing a power O or leads or things like that, you do zone blocking. Maybe you work in a draw. You do what your guys do best, and you put them in positions to succeed.
You talk about, protecting Wes Lunt. That's got to be the number 1 priority. If he's Illinois' best offensive player, how do we protect Wes Lunt? Because he's been injury prone in the past. He got hurt because he got hit so much last year.
Yeah.
And as you look at the depth chart, there are some seniors and juniors, but they're still very thin. Who's the most important guy when you see on here when it comes to pass protection? Is it the tackles? Is it the guards? What do you think?
I think it's definitely the tackles. I think you're looking at Christian DeLauro and Austin Schmidt. Austin Schmidt, a guy who they think has had a fantastic spring, and a lot of times in pass protection schemes, you're going to be locked up one-on-one against the defensive end. The Big Ten always has sensational defensive ends, so if those guys can hold up, the interior three guys can help. You can chip with a running back. You can find ways to make it work, but if you got guys on the outside at left tackle and a right tackle that can hold their own in one-on-one protection, it's huge.
The white team takes over on downs. Martin O'Donnell with us here for a couple of more minutes as we talk offensive line here for the University of Illinois. As Crouch gives off the football, it's run ahead of the 40-yard line. How hard is it? We talk about Megginson's coming in next year, an outstanding offensive lineman from Jacksonville. Heath is a junior college transfer, but how hard can that be to come in as a freshman or even a JC guy and play right away on the offensive line?
I think it's extremely difficult, and I'm sure it's even harder. I think Bill Cubitt's offense, it's fairly complex. There's a lot of audibles that the quarterback is going to be making at the line. That forces the offensive linemen to not only understand their assignment on the play that's called, but they have to have an understanding of the defense, the front that's presented to them, to know that, hey, there's a good chance we're going to have an audible here. Here's what I got to do. So there's a lot going through the head. It's very difficult for a guy to come right in, but certainly there are guys who have done it. Austin Schmidt played as a true freshman. You had a few years ago, Jeff Allen had a fantastic career at Illinois, starting as a true freshman. It's not impossible, but I would say it's extremely difficult, and it's a lot to ask of a guy.
Say everybody's healthy come September 4th for the first game. Who is your starting five as it stands, right now, with guys getting healthy and whatnot? Who would your starting five be on the O-line?
I think working right to left. At right tackle, it's going to be Christian DeLauro, Ted Karras at right guard. You're going to have Joe Spencer at center. I would probably say Nick Allegretti at left guard, highly touted recruit from the Chicagoland area. And then you have Austin Schmidt at left tackle. I think Nick Allegretti's a guy that needs a little bit of seasoning, needs to get in there, have things flying. He needs to make a couple mistakes, and then I think he can really settle into his role, get some confidence, because he certainly has the physical tools.
And how much has the offensive line coach turnover hurt the progression of some of these young guys? I mean, second, third coach now, offensive line-wise. Third coach, I think, in the Beckman tenure. How much does that affect guys developing?
Well, it's extremely difficult because it's a test where the questions continually change. The right answers might be the right answers under one guy, but they're wrong under the next. Every different offensive line coach, like any position, they have their little tweaks. They have the things that they like to do. They have specific drills. And so much of football is muscle memory, especially on the offensive line. So I think now having Brett and the offensive line coach, this is really his first spring with these guys, was brought in at the end of last summer. I think that's really helpful. I think it has hurt some of the young guys' development. Anytime you have that turnover, it's challenging. But having Coach Bratton there, again, the expectations, they know what's going on. These guys are getting more comfortable in the scheme. I think it's very helpful.
Hey, Martin, it's great to visit with you. Congratulations on your great career. Now you're doing some radio work today, so we'll let you go back and do that. So appreciate you being on.
Always great to have a teammate on the air with you.
Yeah. Martin O'Donnell, offensive lineman for the University of Illinois, All-American. Appreciate his insight on that offensive line, which is a key. It always is so important up front. That's where you win games in the trenches.
Martin O'Donnell was a parade All-American coming out of high school. Highly touted recruit. Did not disappoint. Was an All-American here at Illinois and led those running teams that were top 5 in the nation and top in the Big Ten with Pierre Thomas and Rashard Mendenhall when Illinois was really running the ball effectively. And that's when they started to win games. That's the year they went to the Rose Bowl. And that's a big part of that was the offensive line and Martin O'Donnell, who was the leader of that offensive line.
17-7. The white leads the orange. Inside of 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Here's a great pass play down the left sideline, caught for a first down inside the 40, and the man they call Geronimo Allison with the leaping catch.
And that's what Geronimo Allison can do. Throw it up, let him go get it. Wes Lunt is a great touch passer, but you saw Allison went up and got it with his hands. Didn't let the ball get into his body.
39-yard gain on that pass play. Allison had a couple of big games early last year at Nebraska with 118, at Washington with 160. One of Lunt's favorite targets last year, and he's got him here again. 10-5, and he's pushed out of bounds.
Allison not known for his shake, but he made a move right there and got a lot of yards after another catch. Quick slant, then works it back outside, makes a move, gets upfield all the way to the 8-yard. He's got to make plays like that for this receiving core that has been riddled with injuries. Now, the last 2 plays, they've been in a 2-back pro formation. And Bill Cubit said, we're going to do that because we feel like when Wes Lunson's shotgun, they kind of pin their ears back as a defense and put pressure on them. But you can see another 2-back formation, so there's a threat of a run. The defense just can't come all out.
Ainsley Johnson in that backfield looking to help blocking for Henry Inyanahi, and he gets down to about the 6. And Geronimo Allison, another one of those receivers that Bill Cubit is counting on for next fall, junior college transfer. You see Mikey Dudek with 76 catches last year for over 1,000 yards. Allison with 598 yards, and then Hardy was third. You see the drop-off from 76 to 41 to 19. Now, Ferguson had a lot out of the backfield, but for the receivers, they need some other guys to put up big numbers.
Well, and Allison and Dudek are very, very different players. That back shoulder fade was easy on that touchdown. But Dudek and Allison, very, very, well, you can see the routes that Allison does. More go routes, just like a back shoulder fade as you saw on this route right here. All right? See, he's going to press up like he's going deep. This is made famous by Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson, the Green Bay Packers. When they started running that route, everybody copycatted it. It's a great route, very hard to defend for a defender. Long, lanky receiver like Allison, every team needs one because he's the guy that can go back and get it. But it's hard to replace a guy like Mikey Dudek. 76 catches, over 1,000 yards receiving, and he brought that jitterbug receiver, kind of that Wes Welker type, that was so dynamic for this offense last year.
Allison with 3 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown on that pass play from Wes Lund. He had 5 touchdown catches a year ago, and he gets one here in the spring game. The junior college transfer came in last year from Iowa Western Community College. Zaleski adds the extra point, and it's 17-14 in favor of the White. Remember, they started with a 17-0 lead. 5 plays, 76 yards in 2 minutes and 21 seconds.
Yeah, you got to give credit to the Orange team. They battled back. Only down 3 with 12 seconds to go in the first quarter. But I will say the White team had a great offensive drive last drive. They just weren't able to finish. So Chase Crouch is showing that he's capable.
There you see Mikey Dudek, who a year ago at this time, people sort of heard that he might be maybe good. He turned out to be fantastic. And, of course, unfortunately, he tore his ACL, a non-contact drill, a couple of weeks ago or less, and he's been on the sidelines ever since. He has not had surgery yet. He's going to have that soon once they get the swelling down.
Yeah, Mikey Dudek is a special football player. Very special. You just don't have 76 catches without being special.
All right, we need to take a break. We're going to get ready for the second quarter. We're back with more from Champaign. Brian Barnhart with Jay Lehman and Taylor Rooks back in Champaign here on BTN as we continue our spring football coverage. We've been with you all day long, and we're wrapping it up here with the Illinois spring football game. The band is in place. Beautiful weather here this evening in Champaign, and the White team had a 17-0 lead. Now it's 17-14 as the Orange with a couple of touchdown plays from Wes Lund. One to Deontay Taylor and one to Geronimo Allison. Chase Crouch starts him off. Kendrick Foster on the carry as he moves it ahead to the 25-yard line. Well, we're going to be joined in the booth here by the athletic director at the University of Illinois, Mike Thomas, who's had a busy day today. We're here at Memorial Stadium. Baseball's been playing at Illinois Field, softball at Eichelberger Field. We had a track meet earlier. I guess that's still going on on the campus, so it's a busy place, Mike.
Well, and you missed women's tennis, so yeah. It's a I guess more than a 3-ring circus today, and obviously one of the highlights is the spring football game. So it's a great day to be on campus, that's for sure. Don't know if you ordered up the weather for today, but we've seen worse weather than this. This is fantastic. No, this is awesome, and I'm sure you've been around a while, and Jay's been around a while. You've seen a lot different days for a spring day, so this has been terrific, and the weather couldn't script it any better. It's a good day to be outdoors, that's for sure.
Coach, talk about this football program. I mean, they have, in year 4 of Coach Beckman's tenure, they've made progress every year. What are the reasonable expectations for the Illini in 2015?
Well, I just think we need to continue to do the things we're doing. Off the field, Jay, we're doing all the things right in the classroom, in the community, as far as what the kids are doing. But the things that folks want to focus on, and rightly so, and that they pay attention to, is whether you're winning football games. And we need to continue to progress in that area. Certainly don't want to have any slippage, and build the program. And, some of that's on the administration as far as the things that we need to do to enhance the infrastructure for them to be successful.
And you mentioned infrastructure. Are there plans in the works to increase the infrastructure specifically for the football program?
Absolutely. We're looking at, we'll have a study, some schematic designs completed by the end of this academic year for a significant renovation to the south end of the stadium, which would include really a football facility, including a dining facility that would be used up by all of our student athletes. But then what would happen with that, Jay, is it would really provide us the opportunity on the north end, that space that's presently occupied by the football program, to really become an Olympic sport performance area. So yes, I think the day-to-day things we need to do for our football program, help develop our student athletes, and also help on the recruiting end, is very, very important.
We're here with Mike Thomas. You look at the north end zone here at Memorial Stadium. That was added a few years ago. You talked about the south end. That south end really hasn't changed a whole lot in many, many decades.
No, when I was talking to Dick Butkus a while back, and he said to me, he said, hey, you're not still eating in the same room that I ate in, which, as you know, is the varsity room. I said, believe it or not, Dick, we are. I think we have some new paint on the wall, maybe some different pictures, but other than that, it's really the same square footage, and things have changed as it relates to how you can feed your student athletes. So not a lot has changed, and it needs to change. And really, I think once we've done that, and we need to do some things for our fans on the east side, then the facility's pretty well baked.
Wes Lunt with a completion to Deontay Taylor, who had the touchdown earlier today. Lunt, by the way, in the first quarter, 10 of 15 for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns, and a gain of 21 on that play inside the 45-yard line of the white team. And Lunt has looked very good here in the first half.
You talk about additions, adding on to the infrastructure. Specifically, though, it sounds like these plans will really benefit student athletes. Not that luxury suites are bad, but student athletes don't get to sit in luxury suites. This will be facilities to really help the Illinois student athletes.
It'll be all about when you bring prospective student athletes on campus and providing them the things that they would say, wow, not only are they committed to their football program, these are the things that we're going to be able to utilize when we come here as a student athlete to develop us as individuals, develop us as a football team. You're right, where we're standing today in this beautiful facility, it doesn't really help us recruit kids, it doesn't really help us develop kids, and that's really the key to that. We don't feel like, and we aren't, we're not on a level playing field with our Big Ten peers as it relates to that, and that's something that we need to change in the very near future.
Now, outside of football, because you do more than just football, you're the athletic director, the spring sports for Illini have been on a tear. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Well, if you include our 2 gymnastics programs that are wrapping up their seasons right now, we have 6 teams in the top 15 right now, including some in the top 5. I mean, men's golf has been in the top spot most of the season. They're number 2 right now. Men's tennis has been number 2, number 3. I can go on and on and on. It really is a tribute to those coaches and the kind of kids that they're bringing in, and they're performing at a high level, and it's great to see.
Mike Thomas with us for a couple of more minutes. Brian Barnhart with Jay Lehman and Taylor Rooks at Memorial Stadium. The Orange on a drive right now. Again, Wes Lunt having a very solid first half. We're early in the second quarter. And now we're going to get a punt here by Ryan Frayne. Again, just a return. They're not going to try to tackle anybody as Darius Mosley was back deep. Mike, we talked about the football stadium across the street, across Kirby Avenue over there. It's the State Farm Center, which is undergoing some major renovation.
Yeah, it's amazing what's going on over there, that $170 million project, and really a facility that without a doubt will be the best in the Big Ten and one of the best in the country. And when you look at the magnitude of this 4th phase of 6 phases and what it looks like today, thinking we're going to be playing basketball in there December 1 next year, is really hard to believe. But it's going to be magnificent, be great for the basketball program, but also be great for our fans. And you've got to remember, that's a facility that isn't just about basketball. It's a multi-use facility, which is programmed for our students and staff and those people on campus, but those in the community as well.
Chase Crouch going to take over for the white team here at quarterback. They're going to start it inside the 20 at the 15. Cameron Tucker is in at tailback, and Crouch throwing that one right side. And Out of bounds across the 20-yard line is Leslie Blue. Well, one thing that Tim Beckman has done, you talk about the infrastructure of a program with the student-athletes who are off the field in the community, but also the grade point average has risen steadily, and I think he's done a great job in that facet.
Well, he has, and I think you need to give Tim and his staff high marks in all of those types of things. Really, I mean, I'm telling you, they are the poster team in community service for our 21 sports. And also, when you look at a football team that really this fall had almost a 3.0 GPA for over 100 kids, is pretty remarkable. So they're doing a lot of right things there, certainly, a lot, and often that translates to winning football. It certainly builds up the culture, and we look more of that, but also more wins on the football field.
You can see the progression right there. 2 wins in 2012, 4 wins in 2013, got to a bowl game with 6 wins, and had 3 conference wins later in the year last year. When you look at the schedule for Illinois, and you look at this as being year 4, what are you thinking when it comes to this football team, knowing that you've seen them day in and day out in the spring? What are your expectations? I know we're not going to talk wins and losses, but Illinois struggled to compete against higher caliber teams like a Washington and Ohio State. What are you looking for in those kind of marquee football games?
Well, I think Jay, as you always say, overall, when you look at the season, and I've said this before, to use a baseball analogy, you want to be in the pennant race in November. You want to feel like you're a player. You're there competing for division championships, Big Ten championships, but for bowl games as well. But even as a subset of that, looking at the week to week and being competitive. And so, you don't want to give people a reason to leave at the end of the third quarter. You want them to be there for all 4 quarters and give them hope that you're going to be competitive in those types of games. And once again, I think a lot of that has to do with not only the quality, but the depth that you have, especially when you play in this conference, which is, as you know, Jay, you played in. It's a very physical conference, and it's a conference that plays at a very high level. And really, when you get into Big Ten play, there's no easy out. So, the expectation is that you're competitive in those games and that you are showing growth along the way.
There you've seen Eaton Spence pick off a pass for the Orange squad and return it inside the 20-yard line as Chase Crouch, who was 4-5 in that first quarter, gets intercepted here early in the second quarter by Eaton Spence. Here's a look at that.
Eaton Spence, the guy they're expecting to start on that corner, just jumps right in front of the ball, goes to the ball, attacks it, doesn't wait for the ball to come to him, gets it upfield. Now it's great field position on the 20. You got to finish in the red zone. Bill Cubitt's been preaching this all spring long. And you can see they come back out in a 2-back set, give a little deception because could be a run, could be a pass. Protect West Lawn.
Something for Ryan Cubitt, the new quarterbacks coach, the son of Bill Cubitt, to talk about with his young quarterback. Down near the 20, 17-14 White leading the Orange, but they started out 17-0, and Henemy on the carry here to the right side. We get a flag on the play. Well, Mike, want to ask you about the game with Northwestern at Soldier Field. That's an agreement, multi-year agreement, right?
It's a 3-year deal, but as you know, it's every other year starting in 2015. And for us, it's really an opportunity. We'll still have the 6 home games, but knowing how we've traditionally struggled to get people in the stands in late November, that is Thanksgiving weekend for us. So our students, and by our count, there's 10,000 students up in Chicago at that time. And I'll tell you, in 2013, when we played Washington there, Brian, I've never had so many positive comments from a losing football game. And it really was a family reunion for a lot of people. So we're excited about it. And we really need to engage people that have left schools here in the past few years and get them more involved in our programs. We think that's a great way to do it, our Chicago homecoming.
That'll be up at Soldier Field. Here's Lunt, and dumping it to no one in particular inside the 10. Henry McGrew, the Leo, providing pressure. Here's the Big Ten schedule for next year, and you see games. Wisconsin is here. You've got Ohio State here. So that's obviously the flip of last year.
Well, I look at this, and I don't see any game other than Ohio State, obviously the defending national champions, that Illinois could not really fight in those games. Obviously, you got to come to play against the national championship, but Nebraska's had a coaching turnover. Wisconsin's had a coaching turnover. I think they can battle with Iowa. I know they can battle with Purdue, Penn State. You look at the first 4 games of the season as well. Illinois is going to be competitive. They got a chance to be bowl eligible going into November. If I look at that schedule, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right, Jay. If you stay healthy and you play smart football and you take care of the football and do the things, as, like we've said, we've developed, we've progressed as a program. At different times, we've played well on the offensive side of the ball. At different times, the defensive side of the ball. But as you know, you got to play well in all phases. We need to continue to do those things, and we need to play for 4 quarters. And I'll tell you this, Brian, if we had a slew of players with Jay's passion and energy, right, we would be at a much better place, that's for sure.
Well, Jay certainly had a great career at Illinois. And Jay, when you came in, you weren't that highly heralded, and you really developed and blossomed as a football player.
I think that's what you got to do at a place like University of Illinois. You've got to find the players that fit your system, and then you got to go recruit them. It doesn't matter all the time if they've got offered by other people. Does it fit your system? Do they have a frame that you can build on, the character and the work ethic to get a 3.0 in the classroom, to have the community service that is the standard for a fine Illini athlete? And I think that's what they're starting to do. I think Tim Beckman has done that in the last 2-3 years. And he got some marquee players as well this time in the recruiting class. So I think they're on the right track. But building football takes more time to build than any other sport. There's more moving parts. And you see that, Mike, with all the different moving parts in football, much different than even, say, a basketball or tennis, where one player can make a huge difference.
No, much more so. When you're talking about the number of kids that make up a football team, and we talk about the depth, and, we're talking about depth even when you're going through an injury-free season, which we really haven't been fortunate to have those types of seasons yet, like Tim has been here. But you're right. I mean, I think the evaluation piece of recruiting is much more important than the sales piece, because you could be evaluating the wrong kids. And you've got to get the kid that's a good fit here that you can develop. And once again, making sure they have the tools to develop and we have the right people in place to do such a thing. And then over 4 or 5 years, you hope you're at a place where you're competitive in the Big Ten. And like you said, you're playing for 4 quarters and you're there to win football games and compete for division and conference championships and going to bowl games on a continual basis.
Zaleski hits a 28-yard field goal for the Orange to tie it at 17. 9:33 to go here in the first half. Chase Crouch leading the offense, and Kendrick Foster carrying that football for the white team. Well, Mike, it's great to visit with you. Thanks for coming by for a little bit with us, and keep up the good work.
Well, it's always good to spend time with you, Brian, and it's always good to have Jay Lehman in town. And you guys enjoy the rest of the game, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you. Mike Thomas, athletic director at the University of Illinois, here in the booth at Memorial Stadium. White taking over. They've had a 17-0 lead get away, and Chase Crouch to Kendrick Foster. Of course, the three-pointer set up the Zaleski field goal as the defense, Eaton Spence with that interception, set him up.
And Illinois is going to have to get a lot more turnovers, just like Eaton Spence did, if they want to be competitive against some of those better teams. And that turnovers always start with pressure from the defensive line, because the quarterback always has the ball. If you can have him pressured, he fumbles the most, and he'll throw the ball to you. So getting pressure, which they haven't had, is going to be huge.
Makes everybody better when that front line is better. Here's Cantman trying to hang on to it at the 35, and he can't. On the throw by Crouch.
Well, now you think about it. Illinois the last 3 years, to get pressure or to stop the run, they've had to stunt on defense. They have to bring an extra linebacker. They got a slant lineman. They got to throw everything in the kitchen sink at offensive lines to try to confuse them. Now they can line up with 4 guys and get pressure because they have the athletes there, which allows the stress to be taken off the back end, which is going to make everybody better. So I'm looking forward to seeing the defense really blossom this season.
Great. Crouch, by the way, 5 of 11 in this first half for 27 yards and an interception. Well, the Illini, part of the process of building momentum from year to year to year is your recruiting class, which this last class, I think, maybe surprised some people going in. They didn't know what to expect. 6th in the Big Ten by rivals in scout, and you see the heavy emphasis on offensive players. They had to get some depth there and replace some guys, but certainly that class, I think, offers a lot for Tim Beckman.
Yeah, they kind of surged at the end of the year and came up a couple spots in the Big Ten as far as recruiting rankings go. And you look at the offensive players. Why is that? Their offensive line is just so desperately thin. 2 or 3 JUCO transfers on the offensive line. And you see the high school state champions. That's something Tim Beckman's really big on, being part of a championship team and instilling that culture here at Illinois.
Here's the swing pass to an enemy, and he runs it up the sideline, out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Good catch and run. Lunt before this drive, 11 of 19 for 166 and 2 touchdowns.
Yep,
gets a nice gainer up there.
And Yenna, he's a little bit thicker than you give him credit for. He's 210. He's a lot more stout than a Ferguson, who's more of a jitterbug scat back. They're hoping he can do the second team. He can be that second running back to spot Ferguson.
Of course, the Illini without Dre Brown. He tore his ACL a couple of nights ago. And Enemy gets the handoff here, and not much there as they string it out. But an Enemy was the number 10 ranked junior college running back in the country by ESPN. And the rating services there around the country. So he's pretty highly thought of, too.
He is. And they said they're just waiting for it to click a little bit more. And the guy who made that tackle, Lakeith Walls, when I was at practice, I got a chance to talk to Mike Ward, the linebacker coach. He said, Lakeith Walls, number 22, if he would attack the line of scrimmage like he did on that last play, he could be a special player. About 235, 6'2", long, lanky. They think he's found a home at the inside linebacker position. And there he is again, making the tackle on Davis. With Bella.
Davis with the catch. Andrew Davis, he's a tight end. He's a new player for Tim Beckman. 6'6", junior college transfer from Iowa Western. Was ranked the number 1 junior college tight end by Rivals.
He has got quite a frame on him. You go down there, and Andrew Davis is about 6'7". So he's got the frame. He's at a JUCO school, so he hasn't been built up physically yet, but he gets in the way where he could be a dynamic player.
Just shy of their own 45 for the Orange, and an Enemy trying to pick his way along. Not much there.
Another tight end they're looking to fill the void of Lacoste. John Davis is Ainsley Johnson, number 80. You see Davis right there, but Ainsley Johnson at the point of attack. There's Johnson as well. Suffered right there. If you're going to play tight end, they're trying to get Ainsley Johnson to be the John Davis. John Davis did a little bit of everything. Fullback, H-back, tight end, sometimes a receiver. But John Davis could block too. So when Ainsley Johnson is in, he's got to be able to do the dirty work of a tight end. He's got to be able to block a defensive end of Big Ten caliber. That's hard to do.
Here is Lunt, tight end again to Davis at midfield. They gang tackle him there. About 4 yards shy of the first down on 3rd and 11. Davis with the catch. And you mentioned the tight ends. John Davis a lot would line up as a fullback or offset in the backfield. And that's what Bill Cuban talked about, is trying to get Johnson possibly to line up in that role. Fill that role that John Davis did.
Yeah, and he's only had 15 practices. Ainsley Johnson has. I mean, he's a JUCO transfer, so he's very, very new. He's still learning a lot of stuff. But doing what John Davis did is a tall glass of water, as Bill Cuban would say. Very, very difficult to learn all those different positions. But I think they've got some good players in Davis and Johnson.
We saw Josh Ferguson very early. We've seen more of Enemy here lately. And this time it's Hardy with a catch. And he's got the first down, I think, inside the 45 of the 43-yard line.
Yep, Wes Lunt setting his feet out of the shotgun, knows exactly where he's going. He's a highly accurate passer when he does that. Like we've said, the problem is when you make Wes Lunt move out of the pocket, and pressure will come up the middle to make him get out of the pocket, he's got to become more accurate.
Mentioned Lunt with those 14 touchdowns. He only had 3 picks last year along the way, too, so that was a very good ratio. He's 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line. Johnson in the backfield. And an Enemy gets the handoff, and he's free. And he might go, and he's going to score a touchdown. 43-yard gallop to the end zone. Pretty run by the junior college transfer from Sacramento City College.
Well, that's the run they're looking for. They're looking for a back they can hand off to in the offensive line to take control line of scrimmage. Now, Ainsley Johnson leads the way, makes a good block on Wallace, but Darwin Kelly right there. He's the 8th guy. He was the free unblocked player. Darwin Kelly, who's had a good spring, according to defensive co-coordinator Tim Banks, says Darwin Kelly's had a great spring. But when you're the 8th man, you're unblocked. You got to make the tackle because there is no other guy, and hence a big touchdown run.
Zaleski on for the extra point. Let's take a look at that touchdown run as Henry Adeniji makes his way to the end zone to put the Orange ahead here in the Orange and Blue game. 24-17, the Orange has taken the lead. A new defensive member of the defensive staff, the new defensive coordinator, along with Tim Banks, is Mike Fair, and we've mic'd Mike Fair today to hear what he has to say along the way.
Hey, just tell him, hey, if I swear, man, try to get it out of there.
Okay. All right.
And not if, when I do. When I do.
All right. Did you hear that?
You feeling good? Let's have some fun today. Watch yourself, watch yourself, watch yourself. You're going to get freaking hurt again.
Hold my heel back.
Like, to touch it to your butt. Can you? Well, not now. Don't try it now.
No, I'm not.
But not, hey, those blue jerseys look good now. I like it. Can you guys come play some rush for us? We're right there with you.
There you go, the sights and sounds of Mike Fair as Heilton, new player for Coach Tim Beckman, Julian Heilton, who came in as the defensive player, and they put him on the offensive side of the ball, but he has a nice run there.
Yeah, Heilton, I think they found a home for him at running back. You see Mike Fair there. Mike Fair, I got a chance to go to practice a week and a half ago. It was, I got to watch the defensive line specifically. And the energy, not just the technique, and he's coached at the highest level of football, the NFL, for 13 seasons. So he knows the techniques, but the energy and the passion he brings to those defensive linemen, you're going to see a new defensive line. Not only because they're more experienced, not only because they have the bodies now, but he's been working on what they call their takeoff. 5-10 minutes a day, every day. That's how they get off the ball. He wants them to attack the ball and know what their move's going to be against that offensive lineman. Play aggressive, play fast, and think about mistakes later. So I love getting a chance to see him coach those guys up.
3rd down and 5. The Orange with 236 yards of offense. The White with right about 100 so far here through a quarter plus. We're down to 3:09 to go and counting here in the second quarter. And the Orange has rallied from down 17-0 as Crouch hits the man over the middle. Cantman shy of the 40, but he's got a first down. And with that play, let's go to Taylor Rooks. She's standing by with a young man who made quite a splash last year in Champaign, Mikey Dudek. Here's Taylor.
All right, Mikey, you did make quite the splash last year in Champaign, but of course, the story of the offseason was you tearing your ACL. Tell me how you're feeling and the timetable for your recovery and surgery.
Yeah, it's been a lot of up and down feelings, but my teammates have done a good job of trying to keep me positive, especially in a very negative time for myself. So yeah, I've just been feeling down a lot lately, especially a day like today. Seeing all them competing out there sucks when you've been playing the game since you're 6 years old and this is all you've ever known. But I'll be all right. I'm just trying to take it day by day.
Now, of course, October is that projected month for your return. You've been vocal saying you will be ready for that. Tell me what you have to say to your doubters who think you may not be ready for Big Ten play.
There's always going to be doubters out there, but if I'm not ready by then, I'm not ready by then. Everyone's body heals differently. Hopefully I can heal fast. I'm scheduled to get surgery here within the next week or two. So hopefully after I get that done, I'll be able to speed up my recovery time. If I'm back in October, then, I accomplished a goal. And if I'm not, I'm just going to come back when I'm 100%.
And now today you've got your headset on. I was out there talking to the guys. Quickly had to turn from player to coach. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's definitely a different role that I'm taking on. I just want to be involved. When you're not playing, you sort of feel left out a little, but that's kind of natural. So I'm just trying to get as involved as I can. It's kind of cool hearing the coaches' comments about specific plays, what they're seeing out there too. So it's definitely a different aspect.
And now last but not least, I know during last season I asked you who had the better hair in the Big Ten, you or Joey Bosa. Do you think this year you may catch him?
Yeah, definitely. I think my hair's coming in nice. Starting to get a little curls to it too, so I think I got him.
Well, best of luck on your recovery. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Taylor. And Mike Dudek, first-team freshman All-American, second-team All-Big Ten. He set the freshman record for receiving at Illinois. Relius Ben, he was pretty good. Regis Ben had the record. And against Purdue, he had 8 catches for 200 yards. In a loss, 115 yards against Penn State. Those were 2 of his highlight games. As the white team, which has been stopped repeatedly in offense for the most part. They had one drive that was pretty good that got them into field goal position, but they've been unable to score as the Orange has taken the lead. And here is Mikey Dudek.
Very, very sudden in his movements. Was the fastest guy in high school 2 years in a row at Illinois football camp for high school players. But for a little guy, goes up and gets the ball. Great body control and exceptional. Let's him get the ball. For being 5'10" to go up and get a ball like that, got a great vertical leap, has insane workout videos online. If you YouTube Mikey Dudek, this guy can do incredible stuff. 76 receptions, over 1,000 yards. You know, people think he's just a possession receiver, but he averages almost 14 yards a catch and 6 receiving touchdowns. Shame he got hurt. I was at the practice, he got hurt, non-contact drill. And to break a guy's record like Aurelius Ben touted as one of the best receivers in the nation when he came in here.
Speaking of receivers having a good day, here is Justin Hardy with a nice catch and another first down for the Orange as they get their 12th first down here in the first half. And Wes Lunt has found a favorite target here in the spring game today.
Well, and they're going to need Hardy to produce. Hardy, an exceptional student athlete, graduated actually in 2.5 years with his bachelor, and now is going on to his master's degree. They're going to need to have him produce.
43-yard pass play, by the way, as we get an illegal substitution penalty. Haven't had a whole lot of penalties today. Here's the pass play.
So out of the 2-back formation, they protect Lunt. Hits Hardy on the money, wasn't quite able to finish it for 6. Another thing having 2 backs in the backfield does, it's going to help you protect. It's going to help that offensive line a little bit more.
Lunt with 237 yards today, 16 out of 24 with 2 touchdowns, 1 to Taylor, 1 to Allison. Henry and Enemy, who scored a touchdown earlier today, as Lunt lobs it deep to Hardy, trying to hold on, but he can't. He's out of bounds. He caught it, but he couldn't stay in bounds.
I'll tell you what, Wes Lunt must trust Justin Hardy. He throws it into double coverage, okay? And the safety's over the top when he throws it, but he banks on Hardy outrunning that safety, which he does, puts on the money, and Hardy's got to come up with that. I know it'd be a tough catch, but if it hits your hands, you got to come up with it. Gets one hand on it. Wow, that's close.
We're going to get a review maybe, huh?
Looks like, yeah.
Do they do reviews in spring games?
We might be the guys that were reviewing it, right? I think he got control, but I think his knee came down on the white, but it was close. Good effort by Hardy.
Yeah, Lunt having a great first half. This is the half he's expected to play in. We're going to look to see Jeff George Jr. in the second half as Lunt swings it out to Johnson to the right, and he's pushed back.
You look at players on the roster for the Illini, they've got a huge Ohio contingent of players. And Justin Hardy's one of those. Out of Glenville High School, along with D'Angelo Bentley. Of course, Glenville has had many, many athletes through the years. Name a few: Cardell Jones, Ted Ginn Jr. for Ohio State. A lot of skill players for Ohio State. Illinois lucky to get Justin Hardy and D'Angelo Bentley, who have contributed greatly to the program.
Inside of 30 seconds to go here in the first half. The Orange, which has grabbed the lead at 24-17, trying to punch it in again on 3rd and 16, just outside the white 35. And Enemy gets the handoff. He won't get the first down, but he gets it to the middle of the field, down near the 31. Austin Roberts on the stop. And they're going to stop the clock with 6 seconds. Timeout called.
A chance to talk to Coach Beckman about Taylor Zaleski, about how accurate he's been. He said he's been money all spring. That was a question mark last year, both on kickoffs and field goals, but said Zaleski's been money. He's the #1, it seems to be, with the competition with Reisner, and he's going to have his work cut out with him here. It's a windy day. He does have the wind at his back, but that's about a 49-yarder he's lining up for.
So Zaleski last year was 3 out of 6. He had a long of 33. This one will be a 49-yard attempt, as Jay mentioned. Breeze today at his back. So this will give him a shot at it from the middle of the field to try to end the half with some points. And he got it. Taylor Zaleski. Let's take a look at it.
Not easy, but you can see he drives that ball a little bit lower to give him the distance. Split the uprights. He was perfect.
Out of the hold of Ryan Frayne, and he drilled it. I mentioned last year his long was 33, lost his job to David Reisner along the way, and Zaleski, who's had a good spring, coaches have talked about it, trying to nail down that job again ahead of camp next fall. We're going to be expecting to talk to Bill Cubitt here momentarily with Taylor Rooks once they disengage from the field, but a good first half for Wes Lunt, to say the least. Wes, 236 yards, 17 out of 26, and 2 touchdowns.
When he's healthy, he can sling it. When he's protected, he can sling it. And Wes Lunt doesn't disappoint. I think we all know what Wes can do on the field physically. The biggest area of growth I think Wes Lunt needs to take a step in is in his vocal leadership. If you're the quarterback, you gotta be vocal, at least at some level. And Illinois sorely needs that for the offensive side of the football.
The Orange team, the #1 unit, 12 first downs, 283 total yards to 107 for the White unit in that first half. We'll take a break. Back with our halftime activities. 27-17. The Orange rallied from a 17-0 deficit behind Wes Lunt and company. Back with more from Champaign in a moment. 27 White. Let's get to some highlights, starting with Wes Lunt.
Well, we know the offense goes as Wes Lunt goes. The effortless motion, the great touch pass, very catchable ball. Geronimo Allison was his favorite target. And then Deontay Taylor making a play along the sideline because Allison made a key block to give him the sideline. Of course, he finished off the half with a quick pass to Geronimo Allison as well. Big, big target. Again, if he has time, he can hit him. As we see Justin Hardy. So Hardy, Allison, Deontay Taylor, those are the players that have to make up for the void of Mikey Dudek. We talked about Allison, big target. Not going to be as sudden or as quick as Mikey Dudek, but the guy can just straight up go up and get the ball. Big frame, 6'3", can jump out of the gym and can finish. A lot better yards after the catch this spring than he had last year. Last year, he'd just go up, kind of fall down. He got a lot of yards after the catch, and he's got a little personality, as you can see.
Well, and then Chase Crouch, let's talk about him a little bit, Jay. He's been playing with the 2s. He's going to get to play with the 1s here in the second half.
I'm interested to see him play with the 1s. You can see right there, Chase Crouch can run the football. That's the dynamic he brings that Wes Lunt doesn't bring. And he was able to get some short passes to his tight ends and to his running backs to get going a little bit. But again, playing behind a very, very young, inexperienced line, he struggled a little bit. Threw that interception to Eaton Spence that set up a touchdown for the Orange team as they punched it in the red zone. But Chase Crouch is going to be a solid backup come September 4th.
Crouch 6 of 14 in that first half for 34 yards. We'll be back with the second half. The orange and blue spring game. The orange and the white going at it in Champaign. Welcome back to Champaign, the spring game for the University of Illinois. And let's go to the field now. And with Taylor Rooks, he's standing by with Illinois offensive coordinator Bill Cubitt.
All right, Coach Cubitt, you told us before the game that one of the emphasis of this spring was to make the offense more physical. How are they displaying that in this game?
Well, not as good as we would like, but you know, it's funny. You know, I think the score dictates it. You know, you want to score early and give the kids some confidence. And you know, the best way for us to score is really put the ball in 12's hands, and he's done a great job. And then Josh, he was out. He only played 2 plays, and but we did some really good things. You know, like to see a little bit more physicality.
Now, said one of the questions that needed to be answered this game was the running back situation and the wide receiver situation, since you now have 2 people injured in both of those situations. What are you seeing in those positions?
Well, Hardy, I think, is playing a little bit better. You know, I think he's having a little bit more confidence. I really like the way Gmo's playing. I think he's playing really a lot of things we've corrected in the spring. And then the running backs, Henry got that big long run. You know, I think he's got to get used to the major college football. And I think it's his biggest issue. A lot of his bad runs because of his bad steps.
Well, we'll see if that offense gets more physical here in the second half. Have a great rest of the spring game, Coach.
All right, thank you, Taylor, and thank you, Coach Bill Cubit, offensive coordinator at the University of Illinois. And now the white team will be led by Jeff George Jr. And just saying Illinois and Jeff George, that will bring back a lot of memories. And he's going to be grabbed by Jahan Ward here to start the second half.
Coach has been pleasantly surprised by Jeff George Jr. Bill Cubit said he's got one of him and Jimmy Fitzgerald, the recruit, the freshman quarterback who's not playing as needed. He said these two guys have some of the best releases and throwing motions that I've ever been around. It doesn't hurt that your dad is Jeff George, who had a rocket for an arm, as we all know if you're an Illini fan, former #1 pick.
Kendrick Foster is his tailback. You get a look at number 3 there in blue, as Jeff George Jr. is touched as the line got blown up on that play by those blue-shirted defenders on the defensive line, led by Joe Futu. There you see Jeff George Jr. from Indianapolis, son of the great Jeff George. He led Warren Central in Indianapolis to a 6A state title in 2013. His dad did the same for that high school in 1986.
Warren Central, a great program out of Indiana. The problem is that they're running a wing T offense. That's a run-based offense. They didn't know how much Jeff George could throw, so the coaches said when he got here, they were pleasantly surprised how well he could throw given the offense he was in.
Dumps this one over the middle, but it's dropped outside the 20-yard line on 3rd and 17. Well, here's his dad right here.
You can see Jeff George, sport number 11. First overall pick in the 1990 NFL draft. There's only one of those every year. That's pretty darn special. Played for a number of teams in the NFL and led the Fighting Illini to a share of the Big Ten title and a Citrus Bowl berth in that 1989 season. So had a great career here.
That is his son, and obviously a short stint on the field here as they go 3 and out for the white squad, which has scored 34 points today when nobody was on the field before the game by the dictates of Tim Beckman, and then again at halftime. And let's give you the reason for that. Again, the format set up by the coaching staff. The white team made up mostly of reserves, second and third string players on the depth chart. 4 15-minute quarters. They'll have the running clock in the 4th quarter. And the punts, you see the field position, and the quarterbacks will not be live. So a lot of that you'll see in a lot of games this time of year in the spring, but certainly a little bit of a twist with the 17-0 lead to start. Orange made it all up and passed the white team, and now they gave the white 17 more points.
I'll tell you what, as a defender, that just drives you crazy when the quarterbacks aren't live. But especially if you're Illinois, you just want to get through this game without any more injuries, especially at the quarterback position. Now let's see what Chase Crouch can do playing with the first team offensive line.
So Chase Crouch, who threw for over 4,700 yards in high school and 40 touchdowns, will run with the #1 unit now. And Henry and Enemy running it left. And he's bumped out of bounds. A nice gain all the way up to the 45-yard line. Darwin Kelly on the stop.
Good blocking up front. And he hits the hole hard. And that's what Bill Cubit said. If you'll just hit it hard, take the proper steps, I mean, no false steps in the backfield, he can play the big-time college football they want him to play at. Thick guy, 5'11", 210 pounds, can be an every-down back in the Big Ten.
Obviously without Trey Brown today, who tore his ACL in practice a couple of nights ago, as that one intended for Hardy out of bounds near midfield.
Immediately you see different play calls, as you saw a little rollout right there with Chase Crouch. You really don't see that much with Wes Lunt. Crouch can move a little bit better. At the same time, though, you'd think Crouch should be a little more accurate. He overthrew Hardy by about 10 feet.
Chase Crouch, by the way, went 25-6 as a starter in high school. 2nd and 10 from the 45. In Henemy, who scored a touchdown earlier today for the Orange squad. In the backfield. Gets the handoff. Big hole up the middle. He's close to another first down before they shove it back.
And Yennehy, the ball carrier.
Trey Watson on the stop.
look at the hole made by the offensive line. I mean, I think, Brian, you could run through that hole. That's what they're looking for when it comes to being physical. And Bill Cubit said, hey, we didn't do a very good job in the first half. And Taylor Rooks said, hey, we didn't do a very good job. If you're going to win consistently, you got to stop the run and run the ball. They need to learn how to run the ball.
Memorial Stadium in Champaign. Brian Barnhart with Jay Lehman and Taylor Rooks. So glad you're with us today on this Saturday evening as we look at the University of Illinois coming off a 6-win season last year in a bowl bid in the Zaxby's Heart of Dallas Bowl. Right now, the white team leading the orange 34-27, but the orange the only team that has physically scored on the field today, as the orange has rolled up over 300 yards of offense. Wes Lunt, a tremendous first half for the orange squad. Now Chase Crouch is running right now with the orange unit. Henry Anemone, junior college transfer, is at tailback. Play action. Crouch going deep left. Got a man. Flags all over the place. That's Allison, who's into the end zone, but is it going to count? We'll find out.
Well, it's either offensive or defensive pass interference. We're just not sure which one it was. It looked like Allison slowed down, Crouch overthrew, and Allison adjusted.
Pass interference. Defense, number 28.
It's going to stand.
That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
Right about a 50-yard pass play to Geronimo Allison, his second touchdown of the day.
So Crouch off the play action. And you can't see it there, but what happened was the defensive back was not looking at the ball. He was looking at Allison. When Allison took off, he had to grab Allison, but couldn't get enough of a hand on him. And again, doesn't matter who the quarterback is, Allison's been dominant.
Allison a year ago with nearly 600 yards receiving as the extra point tacked on by Zaleski. With 11:50 to go in the third quarter, the orange ties the game at 34, and Allison with 4 catches, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That last one from 46.
Well, if they get that kind of production off of Allison, that'll go a long way in filling the void of Mikey Dudek. As you see Chase Crouch, his best drive of the day. No coincidence, hit a lot more talented, more experienced players playing around him. Therefore, had a successful drive.
And some of the successful running plays they had on that drive, Zach Heath, 79, has been in there opening up some big holes, too, along the way. And you're going to see some players in this second half flip sides of the field and play for the opposite squad. But Jeff George Jr. is now out there to run the second unit here for the white squad, wearing the Do Not Hit Me blue jersey. Wait for everybody to get set. Put it at the 27-yard line, as they said they would. We're tied at 34. By the way, we're going to have a running clock in the second half of this third quarter. About the 7:30 mark, they're going to speed the game up a little bit. And here's Jeff George Jr. with a handoff. And not much there to the left. All right, one of the honorary coaches today is Corey Legit. We called him Corey Legit when he was here. He changed it to Corey Legit. He's standing by with our own Taylor Rooks.
All right, Corey, you're back here coaching your former team, honorary coach in the spring game. What does it feel like to be back in Champaign?
It feels great. You know, it feels like home. You know, it's perfect weather. It actually feels more like San Diego. It's very, the weather here is good, the people here is good, and it just feels good to be out here.
Now, we spoke to Coach Banks before the game, and he said one of the keys to winning in the Big Ten is stopping the run. Tell me how vital the D-line is in that process.
I think they made a pretty good step when hiring Coach Mike, you know, to help come in here and help their defensive line. I think it's very big. You know, defensive line wins a lot of games. The battle is played, and it's fought up front.
And now you sure know how to stop people. You've had 18 sacks your first 4 seasons in the NFL. You got to let me know, which sack was your favorite?
My favorite? We'll say that again?
Yeah, which sack was your favorite?
Oh, when I sacked Ben Roethlisberger for the first time ever, it was the best. It was the best feeling ever.
So big expectations for you in the NFL. But one last thing, what expectations do you have for this team heading into the season?
Which team? Fighting Illini? I believe they're going to be pretty good. They should win 8+ games this year. I mean, you got the 6-6 last year. Why not improve, win 8+ games, and definitely get yourself back to a bowl game?
Well, best of luck in the NFL. Good to have you back in Champaign.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Taylor. He was a first-round pick in 2011. Corey Legion, a fourth-team All-American. Honorable mention All-American as a defensive tackle. Finished his 3-year career at Illinois with 8.5 sacks. Second-team All-Big Ten, also on his resume. And I know he mentioned Mike Fair working along with Tim Banks. Excited what he's going to bring to the table with that defensive line. As the punt is away here, as the white team was stopped again. Caleb Day with the catch.
Talk about Corey Leggett. Came in, recruited off of that Rose Bowl year. Was one of 4 first-round draft picks recruited in that class after the Rose Bowl. Ron Zook had a great recruiting class. And Corey Leggett had an opportunity to play 1 year with the San Diego Chargers on his rookie year. You could tell this guy was going to be a star at the next level, and he's lived up to that. He's playing almost Pro Bowl caliber ball. He didn't get there last year, but he's going to be a stalwart for the San Diego Chargers for a very long time.
He's one of the honorary coaches today. Derek Brownlow, another one of the defensive leaders in 3 consecutive bowl games from 1988 to 90. John Holisek, he was a good one from 91 to 94. And Rick Mitchum, also part of the Illini squads in the mid-70s. Here comes a handoff, and running it right across the 40-yard line from 91 to 94. And Rick Mitchum, also part of the Illini squad. Derek Brownlow, another one of the defensive leaders in 3 consecutive bowl games from 1988 to 90. John Holisek, he was a good one from 91 to 94. And Rick Mitchum, also part of the Illini squads in the mid-70s. Here comes a handoff, and running it right across the 40-yard line to the 38. Was that Bentley? That is D'Angelo Bentley.
Interesting they put Bentley back there.
I'm looking twice going, that's not Bentley, is it?
Almost shocking. He's that versatile. You know him as a cornerback and a punt return artist.
Well, they're going to use him again. And a nice hold to the right side. And again, without a full contingent of what they expected to have today with Dre Brown out, they're going to use D'Angelo Bentley for some carries and let him run it back.
Yeah, and I understand that you're low. I just get a little bit scared. D'Angelo Bentley, one of the better defenders, could be an All-Big Ten player this year, one of the better special teams player in the country, and he's getting some reps in the 3rd quarter of the spring game. So be careful. I might have him in a blue jersey not to tackle him.
Be careful. Here's a move to the right by Ainsley Johnson. He's got it inside the 20-yard line.
Number 80, Ainsley Johnson.
Great block.
Andrew Davis, you'll see on this the little bootleg action. Watch 89 on your screen. Never saw him coming right there. Dylan Casley took a shot from Andrew Davis, the big tight end.
Well, that's what you want from the 2 tight ends. Guys you're bringing in, Davis and Johnson. Here is Bentley again on the pitch from Crouch, trying to turn the corner. Flag comes in inside the 15. Bentley, remember, had that big fumble recovery touchdown against Minnesota. Kind of the lightning in a bottle there to win that game against the Gophers. He had 46 tackles last year, and he's the only player in Illinois history, as we get the penalty, he's the only player in Illinois history, you think about all the great ones, to score touchdowns, kick return, punt return, fumble recovery, interception for touchdowns. Maybe they're trying to get him one here as a running back.
He might be the first DB to play running back as well in the spring game. So chalk it up in the record books for D'Angelo Bentley. We knew he could do it all. We just don't know he could do all that.
They got a little time right there, down inside the 30-yard line. 1st and 20 on the penalty. Henry and Yenahi is in. Here's Crouch, lobs it deep right, and nice catch down there inside the 5-yard line. Caleb Day,
who's the safety. So there's thin. They're really thin at receiver. Caleb Day, we didn't know he'd be playing receiver today. Shows that he's an athlete. Goes up and catches the fade route. Now, Coach Beckman said we're recruiting 1 receiver and 4 defensive backs that will arrive in the fall. One of those defensive backs, he said, may transfer to receiver. But they might have done already. Caleb Day competing for that starting safety spot with Taylor Barton. But a good enough athlete could be playing offense. And it looks like Monheim's at fullback right now.
Oh, my goodness. Boy, Tim Banks is going, wait a minute. Tim Beckman, what are you doing? That's Monheim lined up back there. 7:42 to go here in the third quarter. We'll take a break. They're doing all kinds of things here in Champaign in the spring game. We're back with more in a moment on BTN. Ryan Barnhart with Jay Lehman, Taylor Rooks, Memorial Stadium in Champaign. Down on the 2-yard line, the Orange trying to take the lead back here. Tied at 34. The Orange has scored all the points. The White was given points. Crouch with Ainsley Johnson as a fullback in front of Mason Monheim at the 2. Crouch under center, and Monheim is covered. Don't hurt him. Down at the 5-yard line.
Well, it looks like they're having a little bit of fun. And Jared Clements didn't get the memo about having fun. Jared Clements did a little move and stuck Mason Monheim in the back. That might be the first and the last carry we see from Mason Monheim as he comes out, says, in the end, he comes in for him. They said, man, we gave you your shot. We're sorry.
So much for that. Clements, they call him Chunky, 13 games. He split with Robbie Bain at time after Tico Powell was hurt. Powell and Bain both out for this spring game. Now who's back there? Johnson and Hennehy line up in an I formation from the 5. Crouch, incomplete. Trying to hit Hardy, it looks like, down around the goal line. Hardy, 4 catches, for 73 yards. Allison, 4 catches for 121 and 2 touchdowns. Deontay Taylor, 3 catches for 67 and a touchdown.
They're trying to run the back shoulder fade to Hardy. Usually that's an Allison run. I wouldn't be surprised if they have Allison run the exact same route, exact same play, and they hit him up. And now he's audibly.
Couple of tight ends in Hennehy in the backfield, and here is Crouch. Lob for Allison. Can't get it. Good coverage down there. Jalen Dunlap among the defenders.
See on the little fade route. Good coverage right there.
Yeah, shielded him. Not let him catch the football.
17, Taylor Zaleski.
You know, Jalen Dunlap, guy out of Craig Monet, in-state guy. Craig Monet's had a lot of good players come out of there, especially lately. They think this guy can be a third quarter along with Darius Mosley. They like the way he's played.
Here is Zaleski, who hit a 49-yard field goal earlier. This one a much shorter one of 22 yards against the breeze out of the south, and it is good. 37-34, Orange grabs the lead as Zaleski hits the field goal. We mentioned earlier Mike Fair. We wired him for sound. Here's the Illini defensive coordinator, Mike Fair.
The way you move around, I think you play more than that. I can see you move around that backer.
Play tight end freshman year too.
Okay, now you're stretching it. I ain't buying that one. You're a blocking tight end. Let's go buckle up. Let's get ready to go. Get you warmed up even more. Get him going, Jihad. Hit, quick feet, quick. There you go. Hit. Good. Hit. Get them pads down. Get those pads down. Hit. Good.
Mike Fair, a fun guy. He exudes a lot of energy. He, of course, brought in as to coach the defensive line. And he's working with defensive coordinator Tim Banks. You see Mike Fair's career, 13 years in the NFL. He was down with Lovie Smith down in Tampa Bay. And then Tim Banks is the co-defensive coordinator, back again this year, coming up for his 4th season. As here is Jeff George Jr. on the handoff to Kendrick Foster.
We talk about Illinois, and they've been probably more of an offensive team the last 3 years. That's been their strong suit. I think the key to this team is the defense. I actually think the defense could be the stronger of the 2 units, especially with Dudek being out at least till October. The defense has got to carry this team, and every defense is only as strong as their defensive line. You can see Tim Banks right there, defensive coordinator.
He talked a lot about his defensive line and the improvement they made as a long pass play is caught at the 20, and it's going to be a touchdown.
Archie Murdoch went up and got it. Good ball by Jeff George. And that was the arm we've been talking about. And how about the White coming back with a score, a real score. Not a make-believe 17 points in the first and second half.
That was a pretty pass play to Murdoch. who got past his man, and Jeff George Jr. hits him for a touchdown pass for the White. Boy, he looked like his dad there, didn't he?
He slung it out there for sure. Hit his receiver in stride. Marchie Murdoch made the play and finished.
Here is David Reisner at the north end of Memorial Stadium here at Supke Field for the extra point. And here is the touchdown. Jeff George Jr. to Murdoch.
Little play action. Jeff throws it out in front of Murdoch, gives him a chance on it. Devontae Quaning on the coverage. Just good execution on the play. Good concentration by Murdoch. They mentioned Murdoch's a guy that's got to fill the void.
71 yards on the pass play to Murdoch from Jeff George Jr. Two-play drive, 73 yards. And how about the offense today with the passing yards? The Orange had 324 passing yards, and the White squad now with 109. I'm not a great mathematician, but that's over 400 yards.
That's a lot. 109 for the White team. How many were on that pass play? A lot.
71.
71,
yep.
Huh?
You are correct. So let's see what Chase Crouch can do now with the Orange unit, the #1 unit here today. And Henne in there at tailback. And Crouch with the incomplete pass trying to hit Hardy.
You want them to make that play. If you're a second-string quarterback, you got to be able to make those safe, high-percentage throws. And there's been times when Chase Crouch hasn't done that. So that's been a little bit concerning. But overall, I think Chase Crouch is heading in the right direction. He's still only a freshman, and so he'll be the backup this year.
They really like him. I know Bill Cubitt very high on him. Here's the second down play, and Henne with the carry. Had a touchdown earlier today and runs it up near the 34-yard line. Chris James grabbed him in the secondary. 32 for the White.
Now, if I'm the Illinois offense, I want to start to impose my will a little bit. All right, we're going against mostly the second-string defense here, although there are some defensive linemen on there that may be first-team players like Chunky Clements over there. But as you can see, Chase changing the play. Let's see them impose their will a little bit on the second-string defense.
Third down and 3, 16 seconds for the third quarter. Crouch trying to hit Taylor out of bounds near the 40. 41-37, the White here will lead it at the end of the third quarter.
Let's go back, take a look at that bomb from Jeff George Jr. You know, he's got the pedigree to be great. And, you know, if we can get that replay, here it is. Jeff going deep to Marchie Murdoch. Is it 1989 or is it 2015? Because the sun looks pretty close to the day.
Brian Barnhart with Jay Lehman, Taylor Rooks. We are back in Champaign, a gorgeous night for football. You see Bill Cubitt, offensive coordinator, working with his quarterback Chase Crouch, who has played for both the Orange team today, the #1 unit here in the second half. And in the first half, he threw for 88 yards here with the #1 unit. And a touchdown pass after going 6 of 14 for 34 yards in the first half. They're going to have a moving clock here in the fourth quarter, so this will be a pretty quick fourth quarter. The White finally scoring a real touchdown. They were given 34 points. They got 7, and a beautiful pass play near the end of the third quarter from Jeff George Jr. to Murdoch.
Yeah, and the White's going to take the reins again, see if they can build on their lead. Now, thinking that Bill Cubitt actually has made a shift from coaching the quarterbacks to coaching the running backs. And if there's ever a position they needed him at, it's running back, because they're really trying to educate. He was talking to Josh Ferguson, who hasn't played much today. They're trying to save him a little bit about reading defenses. He thinks if Ferguson can learn how to read defenses like a quarterback, know where that 8 defenders come down, he can have 300 more yards this season. And he's been able to kind of let the reins go to his son, Ryan Cubitt, who's been able to take the quarterbacks.
T.J. Moss is in at tailback. Here is Jeff George Jr. Flings it out to the left. Diving catch, but is he inbounds? at the 35. Incomplete. Leslie Poole, the intended receiver. Yeah, Bill now, he's been the offensive coordinator, but now he's not coaching the quarterbacks. You mentioned Ryan, his son, who was a quarterback, played for him at Western Michigan. Very familiar with what obviously his dad wants. It frees up Bill to go to all the rooms, the running back rooms, the receiver rooms, and I think it's going to help him and the offense in general.
Well, I think they definitely needed it. You know, the first year they were trying to get a whole new system and get Nathan Scheelhaus up to speed. The second year of Bill Cubit, they got Wes Lynn up to speed. Now it's the second year quarterback. They've got Ryan Cubit, who's just like another Bill Cubit. And now he can have a more eagle's eye view of kind of the offense, where he can overview the whole picture, talk to the O-line, talk to all the moving parts.
And I would say, too, I mean, obviously, Ryan Cubit is a guy who's coached a lot in his own right, and he's going to be very successful. He knows what Coach Bill Cubit wants. He played for his dad. He knows, I mean, I think Bill has perfect trust, as he should, in his son, to know what he wants done at the quarterback spot.
Yeah, I don't think communication is going to be an issue at all. He says that Ryan really is so technical, brings up aspects and really adds to the game plan a ton, because he's so familiar with how defenses try to attack Bill Cubit's offense. He knows the weaknesses that defenses have against and where they can really attack.
Saw Murdoch in motion. Here is Jeff George Jr. Time to throw. Now the pocket closes and the pass incomplete at the 30-yard line. Trying to hit Tim Clary.
One thing quarterbacks do when they're not live is they hold the ball a little bit longer. You know, when they're not live and they don't have the chance of ending up on their back, they kind of saunter around, and that's why 7-on-7 passing drills are not real football. When you got the chance of a 300-pounder driving you into the ground, you get a little bit more urgent. And of course, Jeff's just a freshman. I'm sure he'll learn.
So Ryan Cubit talking to his quarterback there as he came to the sideline as the punt caught at the 40-yard line by Caleb Day. Time now for the United States Marine Corps player of the game, our leader of the game. And Mason Monheim, who led the Illini in tackles last year with 111. Certainly had a great year. He's going to be expected to continue to be a leader, and he's a guy, Jay, that had to basically start as a freshman. Had the big pick six late in the year last year to seal that win against Northwestern, and extremely valuable. Has a couple of tackles today, 1.5 tackles for loss, but he's our United States Marine Corps leader of the game.
Couldn't be a better guy on or off the field. He's got a chance to be an all Big Ten player, especially the defensive line in front of him. Monheim has got to average 10 or 12 tackles a game this year if Illinois' defense is going to be good. And Monheim has progressed every year. When he started as a freshman, he was a little raw.
Crouch with a long pass down near the 10-yard line. It is caught for a big gainer and a first down, and Justin Hardy with another catch.
Well, Chase Crouch, he's making a believer out of me with this throw. Not an easy throw. Puts everything into it. And good concentration by Hardy, whose feet got tangled up a little bit there at the end, it looked like, but was able to haul it in.
46 yards on the catch to Justin Hardy. Now, Justin only had 2 catches in the last 6 games of the regular season last year. But he has had a big spring game. 5 catches, 119 yards. And Hennigy carries it down inside the 8-yard line.
Justin Hardy's coming on. I remember him last year, had a big catch against Western Kentucky that kind of broke that game open. They were battling back and forth, and then he went kind of silent the last 6 months as the emergence of Mikey Dudek took some reps, but he's going to have to make the plays that he has done today if they're going to be effective in the passing game.
And Hennigy, by the way, with a touchdown. He carries it here to the 5. He's got about 90 yards today on the ground, as Ferguson played some plays early in that first quarter, but not since. They know what Josh can do. They were hoping to see Dre Brown. He tore his ACL. It wasn't as serious as it could have been. I mean, not that an ACL is not serious, but that is all he tore. That was the other night in practice. So Henry Yennehy getting the chunk of the carries today, and he's approaching 100 yards.
That's a shame. Dre Brown enrolled early, a star, over 2,000 yards at DeKalb High School. Was looking to play this year, and they thought he'd add some great depth to the running situation. But again, the injury bug has bitten Illinois, and they've got to get healthy.
Crouch looking for Hardy. Does he have it? Touchdown. This time he gets 6.
And the fade route's been the route of choice for both Crouch and Lunt, as Crouch hits Hardy on the money right there. Hardy's been solid all game long. He's been going against second-teamers for sure. It'll be interesting to see what happens when he goes against other first-teamers come September, but I've been impressed by what I've seen.
The Orange takes the lead. Crouch with another touchdown. 43-41 Orange. The extra point at the north end by Zaleski. 4 plays, 57 yards on that drive, and the extra point is good. BTN has you covered for spring football as our experts break down the Fighting Illini. Don't miss the Big Ten Spring Football Report coming up after the game on BTN and BTN to go. 7:48 and counting with a running clock. Here in the fourth quarter, Justin Hardy, 6 catches, 124 yards and a touchdown. Geronimo Allison, 4 catches, 121 and 2 touchdowns. Deontay Taylor, 3 catches for 67 and 1. Well, a big part of the Illini's success to get to a bowl game last year, late especially, was Riley O'Toole. Out of Wheaton, he's standing by with Taylor Rooks.
Riley, of course, is one of the captains for last season's squad. What's the biggest difference you see between this offense and last year's offense?
I think there's more and more comfortable. I think that comes, obviously, we just have more practice. Having a lot of guys that were inexperienced, so getting them more reps in spring. Had some injuries, too, so other guys had to step up. So I think they're having a good time, and, I mean, they're doing pretty well today, making some big plays. So it's nice to see Hardy out there, G-Mo, and West, and Chase and Jeff throwing the ball around. So
Wes Lunt, of course, is back. Chase Crouch really using his run game. What do you see in those two QBs? I
mean, obviously with Wes, you got the big, strong arm, really smart guy, getting it all in the right plays. And then Chase, you just see potential. I mean, strong arm, super athletic, can run around a little bit. And, I mean, he's got a big upside. He's still young, still learning the offense, stuff like that. But, I mean, you just see potential with him. But Wes, you see, he seems a lot more calm, too, becoming more of a leader as well. So I think it'll be an exciting time for both of those guys. Looking forward to their futures.
And now lastly, I see you keep looking back there, smiling and laughing. Your friends over there making fun of you. What does it feel like to be back, have all your teammates here, old and new?
It's great. I mean, it's fun to get together. Obviously, guys come from all over the country and stuff like that, come back, so it's nice to see some familiar faces I've played with in years past, and then nice to be around the young guys as well and watch the football. So.
Thanks, Riley. Back to you, Brian.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Riley. He was a big part of the success down the stretch. Big game at Northwestern to win that Land O'Lincoln Trophy in relief of Wes Lunt. 2nd and 15 here for the white team. Jeff George Jr. today, 2 for 6, 75 yards and a touchdown. And Tito Odenigbo running him down that time. Don't forget, after this broadcast here from Champaign, the BTN Spring Football Report. We'll have it next once we're done here in Champaign. 5:20 and counting left here in the fourth quarter with the Orange up 44-41.
Well, you know, going back to Riley O'Toole, here's a guy who was Gatorade Player of the Year coming out of Illinois in high school and really never got a chance to play. He played here and there when Nathan Schillhouse was banged up. And then Nathan Schillhouse graduates. They think it's going to be Riley O'Toole's job. Wes Lunt transfers from Oklahoma State and basically wins the job. And Wes Lunt ends up getting banged up in his final senior season, the last 3 or 4 games. He's able to really have redemption, really a good feel-good story. Was still a leader even though he wasn't starting, and led Illinois to a bowl game.
The one thing he gave Illinois was some running ability, just enough to kind of loosen up defenses and help that offensive line and the running game in general, and he had some big runs.
Yeah, the quarterback's always going to be the player that's not accounted for against a defense. And what was happening with Wes Lunt at quarterback, they realized Illinois could not run the ball last year. And so what happened is, as you can see,
Jeff George, another completion. Leslie Poole with a catch and a first down.
Jeff with another long completion, and now, of course, the White has a chance to make a comeback. But as I was saying, you know, with Riley O'Toole, you said open up the run game. defenses pin their ears back against Illinois when Wes Lunt's in the pocket because they know they can't run the ball. Wes is not that mobile of a guy. And so if they can pin their ears back, they can put pressure. Well, Riley O'Toole gave relief to that.
45-yard pass play. Good job by Jeff George Jr. eluding the rush. Getting it for the first down. That pass should have been caught and is dropped at the 30-yard line. Poole should have had that one. He knows it. There's Mike Bellamy as you see him, former Illini and receivers coach. He was praised for leading that receiving corps last year, the great year they had, Mikey Dudek and others.
Well, you know, Mike Bellamy was actually a receiver for Jeff George Sr. So now you got Mike Bellamy coaching the receivers for Jeff George Jr. It's all in the family.
Yeah, that'll make you feel old real quick. Deep pattern here, but looks like Murdoch trying to run that one down, get turned around inside the 10. Murdoch with 3 catches for 88 yards today and a touchdown. Bentley on the coverage. Jeff George Jr. today,
3rd and 10, Illinois White.
Passing the ball. 4 of 10 for 128.
He's a big play guy. 30 yards of reception so far for Jeff George Jr. But he's showing some flashes and some ability here as he's trying to lead the white team to another score and make them get the victory, which would actually give them stakes. You know, if you win, you get stakes. The losers, they get beans and weenies.
Tight game here in the 4th as Jeff George Jr. pressured, has time, caught. Murdoch running free, pulled down at the 25 by Caleb Day. Well, Jay, we've seen a lot of offense today. 465 yards of offense for the Orange, 204 for the White. A lot of big numbers for the receivers. Lunt had a great first half. Jeff George having a good day. Crouch playing with the ones in the second half. A couple of touchdowns. So what do you think overall?
Well, first of all, the best thing is that no one got hurt. I know that's not what you want to focus on, but as banged up as they are, you couldn't afford to have anybody get hurt. Wes Lunt looked like the Wes Lunt of September. Looked like he's on target. I think the defensive line showed they're vastly improved, but still the run game's a question. And that should get better with Chris O'Connor and Ted Karras coming back. As we go in for a tie, David Reisner right now going to try to tie it up with 1:20 and counting.
This from about 44 yards out to tie it at 44. And it is no good. So trying to tie it at 44, missed from 44. Any more thoughts on today?
You know, I look at the defense, and I said this earlier. They've got to lead this 2015 team. Those guys, some of those guys, whether it be Mason Monheim, Viangelo Bentley, those guys have been playing for 3-4 years. They played really early. They were playing as true freshmen. And now they're veterans. They've got to play like it. They've got to lead the defense. Again, the biggest cog in the wheel is the improvement in the defensive line, both in stature and experience. So looking forward to the defense leading this football team. And if Illinois can get a run game, can find a backup running back to spot Josh Ferguson, who's not an every down back, and open up the passing game for Wes Lunt, they could have a chance.
Now they've stopped the clock with 1:06 left. They may, well, they're going to take a knee here, at least Chase Crouch is. They talked about doing some 2-minute drills, but they can always change their mind, as you know, in spring games. They've changed their minds a couple of times today with the format. And we're inside of a minute. They do play for a trophy in this game. The Orange is going to claim that trophy, barring any more scoring here. And you see Mason Monheim carrying that around. It's been a fun day today. They're having some fun down there. As you said, nobody got hurt. Doesn't look like. Good day for the offense as we wind down inside of 30 seconds.
This is one of the happiest days for a collegiate football player. Spring ball is done. Thank goodness. You got 3 weeks before finals, and it's the best 3 weeks of the year. The weather's good. The pool's open for a little bit. They get to relax and be college kids for a little bit.
Well, there's the trophy celebration. The Orange wins the spring game here at the University of Illinois. Well, that's going to wrap up our coverage of the 2015 Illinois spring game. Coming up next on BTN, it's the Big Ten Spring Football Report. So stay tuned for that. A busy busy day for the Big Ten, as we've had a lot of fun wrapping it up here in Champaign. For Jay Lehman, Taylor Rooks, and our entire broadcast crew, I'm Brian Barnhart saying so long. This has been an exclusive presentation of the Big Ten Network. Thanks for being with us. We'll talk to you soon from Champaign. This has been BTN Spring Football Coverage.